Hello everyone and welcome to Waffle Flower Crafts. It's Shannon here, and today I have the great pleasure of joining Tracey's 25 Days of Christmas Tags. I'm going to be making a Christmas 3D house tag today. First up, I'm using this waffle flower stamp. It's called a Homemade Christmas. It works really well with the new pop-up house die. A lot of the sentiments really relate to houses. This is the new pop-up house die, a really fun die that you can create a pop-up house in the middle of your card. I'm also using the A2 Nested Domes die and the Surface Tag Starter Kit die. So I've already gone ahead and die cut several elements from the pop-up house. The roof with some beautiful sparkly glitter paper, two side house pieces, and then these two pieces here are mechanism pieces. So they'd be in the inside of the house. I'm going to go ahead and score these a little bit just because all these papers are very thick. The die does create a score line, but I'm just going to score it so it's just a little bit easier to fold because this paper is really thick. The white paper is 110-pound white cardstock, and that glitter paper is just thicker because of that glitter. So I'm just using my scoreboard here and just scoring right directly over the score lines that the die creates. You would not have to do this if you're using a thinner weight paper like 65 or 80. But because I'm using some heavier duty paper, I just like to score it so I get a nice clean fold. So I'm just going over all these score lines and it goes really quick. So now I've got that done, I'm going to start to assemble some of the pieces. I'm going to fold back the tabs or on the score lines on these two side pieces of the house. Just going to go ahead and fold those back a little bit, and now I'm going to attach them together. I'm going to use score tape primarily to attach the house pieces together. It works really well. This is 1/8. You can also use 1/4 inch score tape as well. I'm just going to put it on both tabs of the side piece here, and I'm attaching the score tape as close to the score line as possible. Just get a nicer hold that way. I'm using the edge of my scoreboard to make sure the alignment of both sides are perfectly level. I went ahead and used those 4 windows and cut them twice with some really sparkly paper. This is like a white sparkle paper. I got this at my local craft store. It's got adhesive on the back already. I believe it's something you would use with your Cricut. It was a very long sheet and I only paid like $1 for it. And I really like it because it's kind of a white glittery paper. For some reason I find it harder to find white glittery paper. But this worked really well for these little windows because I didn't have to bother with any liquid adhesive. I could just peel off the backing and then stick them right down. So that was a great time saver. So I'm just finishing up here by putting all those windows directly on there. And again, I cut them twice, that set of 4 windows, so I could do all the windows on this house. Now I'm going to take some scrap vellum and I'm going to adhere this behind the windows. I'm going to use some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive for this because it's nice and it's good for multi-surfaces. So this is a good adhesive for vellum. I really like it for vellum. And I'm just going to cut strips. I'm just freehanding it, just eyeing it here, not being super careful. Just want to make sure I get enough to cover those windows. And I'm going to repeat this for every single window. And some of this will get a little blocked by some of the inside mechanisms, but I really do like adding this little bit of vellum behind the windows. It just adds a nice soft touch to the windows so they're not so like gaping holes or you see the white mechanism behind there. I just like to do this even though it's a little bit of an extra step. And I know this is just a tag, but I really do like this little addition, and it doesn't take very long, and it's a good use of your scraps. So I'm almost done here finishing up these last 2 windows, and now I'll move on to the next step. So I'm going to now start to kind of really pop this house up and make it 3-dimensional. I'm going to grab I'm going to put a little score tape on one of the houses. I'm putting on either side of the door, and then right above that arched window, this is where one of the inside mechanisms is going to attach to. So that's where I'm putting it. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab one of the first inside mechanism pieces. The dies create this little circle and a plus sign to indicate anytime it's a forward fold or a fold towards you. So all the folds we've done so far have been back folds, but right there you see on that house there is a forward fold. I really like that because it almost makes like putting this die together or putting this pop-up house together kind of intuitive. You don't really have to think too much about it after you've done one house. You know, once you can just kind of follow the die cuts themselves and kind of figure out how this house goes together. At least I found it was really easy to put together. So I went ahead and peeled off the back and the score tape and attached that. It doesn't quite cover the complete back, but just line up the two roof angles on the inside mechanism piece and on the house. And then I went ahead and added a little bit more score tape onto that inside mechanism piece, peeled off the backing, and I now attached it to the other side of the house, which is actually like the back side of the house. And then I peeled off the score tape that we put on earlier on that side house on that tab, and then attached it to the house. And there you go. The house is all pretty much built. There's just like the roof that we have to add on, and we'll do that later. Before I add the roof, I'm going to embellish a little bit. I cut a reef and a bow, and again, just like the windows, this reef and bow comes with the pop-up house die. So this is all part of that die set. Again, I used some really sparkly glitter paper. This is the reef is pink, and the two little bows are the same glitter paper that I used for the roof. And this glitter paper actually all came in one pack, so it was like a really good pack of glitter paper. Plus, each sheet of paper is like ombre, so you get kind of multiple colors even on one sheet. I don't know. This glitter packet, I've used it a lot lately, and I'm really loving it. I think if I see it again at the craft store, I'm going to buy it. It's made by Recollection, so you can find it at Michael's. And I think there's like 5 different shades of colors, and each shade of glitter paper is ombre, so there's multiple shades kind of on each sheet. It's just really pretty. I'm really enjoying glitter paper right now with the holidays. Okay, so we're on to our second inside mechanism piece here. All these are indicated with that circle and that plus sign, so they are all forward folds or folds towards you instead of towards back. So I went ahead and folded them, and now I'm going to add some score tape to where this inside mechanism is going to attach to the walls of the house. So I'm just adding some score tape on one side of the score line, and I'll trim it right there so I don't have any excess score tape, because that little opening there has to fit through that inside mechanism piece. So I'm going to fold them again, pull off the score tape, and then I will put the house directly on top of this. So I'm going to grab the house here, and again you can see how that mechanism goes right through that little opening in that one tab. And then I will just, once I get it all, the corners lined up, I'll just press it up against. So there's the house almost done again. Now we got that mechanism now will allow us to attach the house onto the tag, because we can now adhere glue right on the bottom of that mechanism. So I went ahead and used the smallest die from the arched the A2 nested dome die. There we go. And I'm going to put a little hole in the top of that with a die from the surface tag die set. So I'm just going to line it up here at the upper portion, then use some painter's tape to hold it down, and then run it through my die cutting machine. And this paper that I'm using, the tag, is that glitter paper. So I actually die cut the tag out of white cardstock and then out of the glitter adhesive paper, and then put the two on top of each other. I just did that off camera because you don't really need to see that. So I went ahead and cut like a little tag reinforcer. This die is also from the surface tag die set, and I cut it out of that pink glitter paper. And this glitter paper is also really nice because it doesn't come off on your fingers. So Really good product. I'm going to use hot glue to attach this. You could definitely use the Tombow liquid adhesive or other kinds of adhesive here. I'm just using this because I've got it heated up already because I'm going to use that to attach the roof onto the house. And I'm kind of impatient. I just want that glue to dry. I don't want to sit there and hold it, so I'm just using the hot glue for this because it's ready to go and I don't have to wait. I don't have to hold it and wait for it to dry. Because after I glue this tab on, this tag reinforcer piece on, I'm going to stamp directly onto the tag. So I just kind of don't want to wait around here. And it looks like I didn't get quite enough glue on that first one that I did, so I'm going to put a little bit more hot glue on there and then fold it over. And again, you do not have to use hot glue for this, but I just had it ready to go. So fold that over here. I'm going to stamp my sentiment or what my tag's going to say using a MISTI because I've actually created multiple of these. So I've already got my MISTI loaded up with my sentiment ready to go. See, it's right there. It says from our house to yours, perfect to go with this pop-up house. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to do some embossing. So first thing I'm going to do is put down some anti-static powder. So the embossing powder only sticks where I want it. I'm going to use Versamark ink here. I'm going to ink up the sentiment, and underneath the sentiment is 2 lines to write to and from. So I'm just going to stamp that, and I will stamp this twice. Again, I really do almost always double stamp things if I have it in my MISTI, just to make sure I get a nice clean crisp image. And I also do it for this in Versamark just to make sure I get enough ink on there and so I get good coverage or good sticking of the embossing powder. So I'm flipping it over because on this bottom half here I have to and from already mounted in my MISTI and ready to go. So I'm just going to ink up to and from with the Versamark and stamp that as well. So I'm just going to fold this over and stamp that. And I'm now going to do the embossing powder. I'm going to use some silver embossing powder. I thought it kind of matched the glitter the best, kind of the same tone. I'm going to pull that over here. I don't have my silver in a little Tupperware, so I'm just going to use the coffee filter to catch it, pour it on over, tap off the excess, and then heat set this. So it looks really pretty already, even though it's not heat set. So I'm going to put this away and start up my heat gun. So again, I'm going to get this my heat gun nice and hot for this. So I reduce the amount of warping that I have. So now that my heat gun's nice and hot, I'm ready to heat set this. So real simple. Just going to cut there to the end. So nice, pretty, nice and sparkly, and perfect to and from line. So I think this would be great. This tag would be great for like if you give goodies to your neighbors. This would be a great tag to put on your little like cookie tray. Okay, so I'm now ready to assemble. This house, there's a little slot opening there on the roof that the chimney fits through. I just kind of pinch that chimney flap closed and then feed the roof through there. The house is, because this is a pop-up house, so it's designed to kind of fold down into your card. It's not really designed for what we're using it today to make like a 3-dimensional tag. So the roof isn't really, there's no place for it to attach because it can't attach, otherwise it won't collapse down in the card. So that's why we're kind of having to use hot glue here, because there's no real good place to put adhesive or even score tape. So I'm using hot glue on the corners of the house, the bottom corners, and along the sides of the house. Those are the best places I found for the hot glue to go, because you won't see them if you get a little bit of spillage going past, onto the sides of the house. And to do the other side of the roof, I'm just going to lift up the flap, the tab of the roof. I'll put a little bit at the top, just to make sure that the roof sits completely flush with the house, and then I'll just hold everything in place. And the last thing I'll do is put a little bit of hot glue on that chimney and fold that tab over, and that chimney is done. And of course put some adhesive on the bottom of the house and then attach the house directly onto the tag. And then that is done. I really love this glitter paper with these houses. It's a really simple way to kind of elaborate on the house or really make the house more special. And it reminds me of those like vintage house ornaments. They often had like glitter on them. So I think it's just a really pretty gift tag, super cute and really impressive. And you can also use it like on the bottom of this one. I did stamp like a special gift for you. So of course you can use it in your regular gift giving. It doesn't have to just be for your neighbors. I even think like if you hung a string from the inside, this tag could potentially become an ornament in itself. So it's almost like a gift within itself. So just really fun, and I just love that glitter paper. Oh my goodness, I really want to make some more for the trees. This one I wanted to show you guys because I played around with some different kind of styles. This one is definitely more involved because I ended up putting die cutting some more of the embellishments that come with the pop-up house die, and then doing snow pin on it. Really pretty, probably not super practical for tags for gift giving, but maybe like I was mentioning before, if you turn these into ornaments, that would be a great way to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video today. Thanks for watching. If you want more information on the products I use, please visit waffleflower.com, and you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Have a wonderful day.